You've been lied to about attraction. The things you were taught to do to earn love are the exact reasons you're ignored, replaced, or taken for granted. This video isn't about being toxic, charming, or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about understanding the psychological patterns that make people chase, not choose. Once you see this, you won't unsee it, and your behavior will change permanently. Watch carefully, because most men aren't ready for this truth. Obsession is not a romantic choice. It is a neurological glitch, a psychological short circuit that bypasses the rational mind and strikes directly at the primitive brain. It is a loop in the human consciousness that forces a person to fixate on a target with such intensity that they either possess it or are consumed by the pursuit. Most men spend their entire lives trying to be liked, trying to be the perfect candidate for a woman's heart. They buy the flowers, they send the predictable good morning texts, they listen to problems they have no interest in, and they effectively trade their dignity for a flicker of a smile. And in return for this goodness, they are rewarded with the friend zone. They are replaced by the man who ignores them. They are left for the individual who doesn't follow any of those societal rules. There is a cold, uncomfortable reality that the world wants to hide from you because it is not polite. Women do not obsess over the men who treat them like queens. They obsess over the men who treat them like a question they cannot answer. Today, I am not going to teach you how to be a supportive partner or a nice guy. I am going to hand you the surgical tools to the female subconscious. I am going to show you how to hack the emotional software that governs desire. We are going to explore the psychological mechanisms that bypass logic and speak directly to the biological instinct to chase. But listen to this warning before we proceed. These methods are potent. They rely on the dark psychology of dopamine spikes, intermittent reinforcement, and ego fragmentation. Once you flip these switches, you cannot simply turn them off. She will not just like you, she will crave you with a physical intensity that borders on withdrawal when you are absent. If you are not prepared to be the absolute center of someone's psychological world, or if you are too weak to handle that level of emotional gravity, then stop watching right now. Go back to the comfortable lies. But if you are ready to stop being the one who chases and start being the one who haunts her thoughts every waking hour, then pay very close attention to what follows. The first mechanism we must master is the vacuum of validation. This is the absolute foundation of making someone's mind revolve around you. Think about the mistake that 99% of men make within the first 5 minutes of meeting a woman they find attractive. Their biological programming screams at them to prove their worth. They laugh too loud at her jokes. They agree with every opinion she voices. They shower her with compliments about her eyes, her dress, or her smile. They think they are being charming, but in reality, they are suffocating her attraction. Attraction requires oxygen. It requires space. When you fill every silence with a compliment and every gap with reassurance, you leave her with nothing to work for. You eliminate the mystery. You remove the anxiety. And without a measure of anxiety, there can be no obsession. The vacuum of validation is the sophisticated art of giving her absolutely nothing when her ego is screaming for something. Imagine she tells a joke that isn't particularly funny. The average man laughs anyway because he wants her approval. You, however, simply look at her. You might offer a small, knowing smirk, but you don't laugh. You let the silence hang in the air for 3 long seconds. In those 3 seconds, her brain enters a state of panic. She starts questioning herself. Why isn't he laughing? Does he think I'm boring? Have I lost my touch? In that moment of uncertainty, you have moved from the periphery of her mind to the absolute center. You have created a vacuum, and nature abhors a vacuum. She will feel an overwhelming compulsion to fill that void. She will try harder. She will ask you more questions. She will touch your arm to regain your attention. She is no longer the one being pursued, she is now the one seeking your approval. This applies to the digital world as well. When she posts a photo designed to solicit attention, and hundreds of men are lining up to tell her how beautiful she is, your power lies in your silence. You are the only one who didn't react. You are the only one who didn't join the choir of fans. By withholding the validation she is accustomed to receiving for free, you make your eventually granted approval the only thing that actually matters to her. From the vacuum, we move to the second stage, which is the fracturing of the pedestal. Society tells you to put a woman on a pedestal, to treat her like a celebrity. But think about how celebrities treat their fans. They treat them with polite indifference or total disregard. If you want her to be obsessed with you, you cannot be a fan. You must be the critic. I am not talking about insults or being a jerk. That is a low-level tactic that reeks of insecurity. I am talking about a benevolent neglect of her ego. I am talking about being fundamentally unimpressed by the things that the rest of the world worships. She is used to men melting when she walks into a room. She is used to men stuttering and losing their train of thought. You must look through the beauty, not at it. You must see the human being behind the mask. When you speak to her, do not compliment her physical traits. Those are cheap, common commodities. Instead, challenge the image she projects. If she acts like a cold, untouchable ice queen, you say to her, "You know, you play that guarded role very well, but I can tell there's actually a lot of warmth you're afraid to show." If she is the life of the party, you tell her, "It must be exhausting having to perform for everyone just to feel like you're being seen." This is called fracturing the pedestal. You are taking the perfect image she presents to the world and you are putting a tiny, precise crack in it. You are communicating to her subconscious that you see the real her, the shadow, the flaws, the parts she hides. This is deeply addictive. Deep down, no one truly wants to be worshipped for a superficial mask. They want to be understood for who they actually are. When you ignore the surface and speak to the soul, even if your observation is slightly critical, she feels a level of intimacy with you that she will never feel with the men buying her drinks. The fan worships the image, the master dismantles it. Now we must discuss the most dangerous and effective tool in the arsenal, the dopamine roller coaster. This is the exact psychological mechanism that makes gambling a life-destroying addiction. It is the reason people sit at slot machines until their bank accounts are empty and their eyes are bloodshot. In behavioral psychology, this is known as intermittent reinforcement. If a lab rat presses a lever and gets food every single time, it eventually gets bored and only presses it when it is hungry. The behavior is predictable. But if the rat presses the lever and sometimes gets food, sometimes gets nothing, and sometimes gets a massive reward, it will press that lever until it dies of physical exhaustion. Most men are too consistent. They are reliable, they are steady, and they are ultimately boring. They text back within seconds. They are always available for a call. They are a sure thing. And a sure thing never triggered an obsession in the history of the human race. To create a true psychological haunting, you must become the slot machine. You must oscillate between intense warmth and sudden coldness, between presence and total absence. One day, you are her everything. You are charming, you are focused on her, you are texting her back with wit and energy. You give her a massive hit of dopamine. She feels a high. She thinks, "Finally, I've found him." Then, the next day, you pull the rug out from under her. You take hours to reply. Your messages are brief and devoid of emotion. You are busy. You are focused on your own mission. Her brain immediately goes into a state of chemical withdrawal. The dopamine drops, and the cortisol, the stress hormone, spikes. She begins to spiral. She checks her phone every 2 minutes. She rereads her last messages to see if she offended you. She wonders if there is another woman. Then, just as the anxiety reaches its peak, you send a simple, warm message. The relief she feels is euphoric. The dopamine hit is 10 times stronger than it was before because of the pain that preceded it. You have just wired her brain to associate you with that chemical cycle of struggle and reward. She is no longer addicted to you as a person, she is addicted to the emotional relief you provide. It is a cycle that, once established, is nearly impossible for her to break. The fourth pillar is the power of the to know. We currently live in a culture of yes men. Most men are so terrified of losing a woman's interest or causing conflict that they agree to everything she says and does. They become a mirror of her desires. If she wants to eat at a certain place, they go. If she has a ridiculous opinion, they nod. Every time you say yes, when your internal compass says no, you are cutting off a piece of your masculinity and handing it to her. And here is the secret she will never tell you: she hates you for it. Women do not respect men they can control. It is a biological impossibility to feel deep attraction for someone you can bend to your will. If she can move you, she cannot rely on you. She needs a man who is a fixed point in a chaotic world. You must learn to say no with absolute, calm authority. Not with anger, not with defensiveness, but with the quiet confidence of a man who has his own set of standards. When you set a boundary, when you deny her something she wants simply because it doesn't align with your path, you subvert the entire social dynamic. You become the selector. You become the prize. Imagine a child testing the walls of a house. They push and push. If the wall moves, the child is terrified. If the wall stays firm, the child feels safe. Be the wall. When you tell a woman no, you trigger a fascinating subconscious reaction. Initially, she may be annoyed. She may test you or try to pout. But underneath that, her respect for you will skyrocket. She realizes you are not just another orbiter in her solar system. You are a planet with your own gravity. The word no is an aphrodisiac to a woman who is used to every man folding under her gaze. Fifth, we have the art of creating future nostalgia. This is a subtle psychological inception. It is about planting seeds in her imagination that grow only when you are not there. Most men talk about the boring present: how was your day, what are you doing later? To make her obsessed, you need to colonize her future. You need to link your presence to experiences she hasn't even had yet. You use open loops and conditional language. You say things like, "We're going to have to go to that hidden rooftop bar I found, but I don't know if you're cool enough to get past the doorman." Or, "I saw a trailer for a movie today that reminded me exactly of that weird story you told me. Remind me to tell you why when I see you next month." You are projecting a reality where the two of you are already a fixture in each other's lives, but you do it with a twist of challenge. You plant the idea, and then you walk away. Now, when she passes a bar, she thinks of you. When she sees a movie poster, she thinks of you. You are creating triggers in her daily environment that act as anchors for your memory. You are effectively haunting her reality. This is future nostalgia. She is missing a memory that hasn't even happened yet. She is longing for a future that exists only in the shared imagination you constructed. This creates a sense of inevitability. It makes her feel as though your paths are destined to cross again and again, simply because her brain has already simulated those moments 1,000 times. Sixth is the triangle of desire, also known as preselection. Human beings are social animals, and we fundamentally want what others want. If you see an empty restaurant, you assume the food is terrible. If you see a line around the block, you assume the food is life-changing, and you will wait an hour in the rain just to get a seat. Women are highly attuned to social proof. If no other women want you, she instinctively assumes there is a hidden defect in you. But if she senses that other women desire you, your value in her eyes increases exponentially without you saying a single word. This is not about bragging. Bragging is pathetic and transparent. True preselection is an energy. It is the way you carry yourself. It is the fact that you have female friends who genuinely respect you. It is the fact that when you are out together, the waitress lingers a little longer at your side of the table. It is receiving a text message, smiling at it, and not telling her who it's from. You don't need to rub it in her face, you just need to exist in a way that suggests you have options. When she realizes she is not the sole owner of your attention, but merely someone who is currently leasing it, her competitive instinct will override her logic. She will stop wondering if she likes you and start worrying about how to keep you. Obsession cannot exist in a state of total security. It requires the fear of loss. She must feel that if she slips up, there is a line of other women ready to take her place. This anxiety is the fuel that keeps the fire of her obsession burning through the night. The final and perhaps most technical mechanism is the Zeigarnik effect. This is a principle from cognitive psychology which states that the human brain remembers uncompleted or interrupted tasks much better than completed ones. It is why television shows end on cliffhangers. It is why you can't stop thinking about a song if it cuts off right before the chorus. Most men are completed tasks. They tell a woman their entire life story on the first date. They reveal their intentions, their feelings, and their history immediately. They are a book that has been read cover to cover. There is no reason to pick it up again. To make her obsessed, you must be the cliffhanger. You must never tell the whole story. When a conversation is reaching its peak energy, when the vibe is perfect and she is hanging on your every word, that is exactly when you must end it. You check your watch and say, "I'd love to finish this, but I have to go deal with something. I'll tell you the rest another time." She will feel a physical itch in her brain to close that loop. She will go home and replay the conversation, trying to figure out the ending. You are now occupying rent-free real estate in her mind. Always leave her with a question mark, never a period. Be the puzzle she can't quite solve, the mystery she can't quite unlock. Now you have the 7 triggers, the vacuum of validation, the fractured pedestal, the dopamine roller coaster, the power of no, future nostalgia, the triangle of desire, and the Zeigarnik effect. If you apply these with precision, you will see the world around you shift. You will see the way women look at you change from casual interest to a lingering, intense focus. You will start receiving the double texts. You will feel the power dynamic move until the remote control of the relationship is firmly in your hand. But there is a final, vital truth you must understand. You cannot fake this. You cannot use these tricks if you are internally a weak, desperate man. If you are sitting by your phone, counting the seconds until you can legally reply to her, she will sense it. Women have an intuitive ability to smell desperation through a screen. These methods only work if you truly embody the philosophy behind them. That philosophy is one of total detachment and stoicism. It is the bone-deep realization that you are the prize. Your life, your mission, and your purpose are more important than any person you could ever meet. When you genuinely do not care if she stays or goes, you become the most dangerous man in the room. When you are truly willing to walk away the moment a boundary is crossed, you become irresistible. This isn't about gaming her, it is about gaming yourself out of the weakness that has held you back for years. It is about killing the needy boy inside you so that the man can finally breathe. Obsession is a reaction to power, the power of self-containment. Most men are open fields, easily trampled by anyone who wanders through. You must be a fortress. Keep the gates closed. Let her knock. Let her wait. Let her wonder what lies behind the walls. That mystery is what keeps the flame alive long after the initial spark has faded. Now, most of you will watch this and do nothing. You will go back to your predictable patterns, your nice guy habits, and your mediocre results. But for the few of you who are tired of being the one who finishes last, for those who are ready to embrace the sharper edges of your nature and master the hidden code of human desire, the path is open. Don't just watch this. Pick one trigger. Apply it today. Watch the reaction. Experience the shift in gravity for yourself. If you are ready to stop being a spectator in your own life and start becoming a master of these dynamics, then you are exactly where you need to be. We have only scratched the surface of what is possible when you understand the mechanics of the mind. If you want to go deeper into the shadows and learn the advanced levels of power, influence, and attraction, then you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel, join the circle of those who see the world for what it actually is, and never settle for being a choice when you can be an obsession. The game is already being played, it's time you learned the rules. I'll see you in the next one.